guys keep information like this private to us? It's a long story, Freddy. After Fazbear's Fright closed down, we assumed the Phantoms didn't survive afterwards.
I guess that makes sense, but there is one thing I always wanted to ask. Where did Phantom Foxy come from? Is he an embodiment of something?
I think it's about time me and your father discuss Phantom Fox's origins to you and Freddy, but you must promise to keep this information private. We promise. Right then, this goes all the way back to when the Toy Animatronics restaurant reopened. I was set to go out and investigate Fazbear's Fright by instruction of Withered Golden Freddy. There was something about that attraction that seemed off to him, so I went in there after hours to see if the people who worked at that establishment were behind something. So far, I found a few props and spare costume parts that came from the Withered Animatronics pizzeria. Everything was uneventful. That was until I found an extra room that was boarded up. I was hesitant at first to open it, but I felt as if it was my job as an investigator to do so. I pried the boards off and entered the room, and as soon as I went in there, the foul stench of rot hit me in the face. It was complete darkness. I couldn't see a thing. I remember I brought a flashlight with me, so I turned it on, and all I found was stained walls and old arcade games. That was until I found out what that smell was coming from, and a remarkable discovery. I had found the original Spring Bonnie suit. It was in a terrible state of disrepair, and its colors had faded immensely. I didn't think too much of it. That was until I got a closer look and opened its mask. Inside the deteriorating bunny suit were the mummified remains of William Afton. I was in complete shock and grossed out at the same time. I couldn't believe he managed to remain intact after all these years. I was about to leave the room. That was until I realized I had the potential to purify his soul and give him another chance. Yeah, but that still doesn't explain how the Phantoms were created. Well, while I was there, I managed to find some remains of your guys' suits, such as Chica's spare mask, and a display stand of Freddy and Bonnie's body and masks to experiment. I also found a box full of spare animatronic parts that used to belong to the Toy Animatronics, including Withered Foxy. I took it out, and as I lined it up with the Foxy head that was hung up in one of the hallways, I gave life to the arm and mask. And it worked, but not in the way I thought it would. As a result, Phantom Foxy was born. Interesting. So, who are his other family members? There are Phantom versions of Withered Freddy, Chica, BB, Mangle, and myself. I was gonna make one of Bonnie, but I ran out of time before I could do so. Anyways, after my experiments were finished, I managed to bring Springtrap back to life and purify his soul, and after some conversations and negotiations, I was able to get him out of there. Except for the Phantoms. Springtrap wanted to take one of them home, but they declined and stated that Fazbear's Fright was their home. And as you all know, I moved in with you. Wow, that explains a lot. The more you know, I guess. Yes, pretty much. Now anyways, this is where unfortunate events took over. Shortly after I was brought here, there was a fire that occurred at Fazbear's Fright. The fire crew were called, but by then, the building was already reduced to nothing but rubble. As for the Phantoms, we assumed that Phantom Foxy was the only one that survived because I found him on the streets all badly burned and he looked miserable.